Recapping a great Central PA event with a tasty twist on a summer classic, capped off with a visit to man's best friend. The center of it all is coming up next. Good morning and welcome to this edition of the Center of It All. We are in beautiful Ridgway, Pennsylvania for the 17th annual Chainsaw Carvers Rendezvous, and I'm with event organizer Liz Bonney. Liz, thank you so much for inviting us up here. It's a great event.
Well, Andrew, I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad to have you come experience this fantastic event with artists from all over the world and to enjoy the creative energy that is in and around our beautiful town, and to enjoy the warm weather this year.
This time of year, it's like early March, but the kickoff of spring, especially with the weather that we're having, the weather's great here. What's it like in the weeks leading up to the preparation for this?
Well, logistically, it's a challenge. We have 200 carvers that come in, finding places for them to stay, just kind of even finding places for them to set up and put this on. This is actually our 4th or 5th location that we've had for this event, because it's something that has grown over the years. It started out with, well, the first one had 9 carvers, and every year since then it's grown and grown and grown, and it used to be a 3-day event, and it has since gone to a 7-day event. We do seminars, we teach, actually the carvers share. That's what this was all about. It was about trying to find out if there were anybody else doing this at the time that the internet came out, so it just kind of all fit together in a lumber heritage region, and it became a great community effort.
You mentioned the 200 carvers that are around here from all over the world. Just give us a little brief how expansive their travels are to get here.
Well, okay, well, basically it's, first of all, how do you get here? We have to get them to Pittsburgh. We have to transport them from Pittsburgh to here, or Buffalo to here. It's a lot of running. It's a lot of people saying, okay, we get this person, we get that person, we bring them in and go again the next day and do the same thing.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen people sign in from Wyoming, Washington, South America, Eastern Europe. They're all in this area in the Allegheny National Forest in central Pennsylvania.
And the beauty of this is, over the years we've had our internationals tell us that this is not how they pictured America. When they think of America, they always thought of New York or LA. So for them to come to central Pennsylvania and come back because they love it is just a great thing in itself.
So they thought America was Crocodile Dundee 2 in New York City, but that's not the case,
Exactly,
obviously.
exactly. So they love it, and they tell us that they remember when they got to live in the countries. Now they have to live closer to the cities to get work and do things. So they actually love it here.
What's your favorite part about this event and this time of year here in Ridgway?
Well, this year, I loved it because the weather was great. Usually we do this the last 2 weeks of February, and last year it was 40 below zero with a wind chill factor. And I could not ask carvers to stand out for a week in that again, so we moved it this year, and look at the weather we had. I mean, it was t-shirt weather, and just, they're loving it. People are happy. The crowd, it's a signature crowd this year. I mean, it's just beyond anything we've ever imagined.
What's the response been from the carvers that have come in, and maybe the ones that were here in February when they heard that you were moving it, into March?
I think everybody was like, oh, well, we'll see what happens. Well, look what happened. And they're happy. There's smiles on everyone's face, and the crowd is happy. They're out and about. It doesn't get any better than that.
Now, talking to some other people, when I said, hey, beautiful town up here, and they said, yep, we're 2 hours from everything. What would you say to somebody who might be a little bit hesitant to check this out next year?
I just say you have to come and experience it for yourself. And that's basically like any other event or any other thing that you do, it's word of mouth. You can do all the advertising that you want to do, and until you experience this, there's nothing that anyone can tell you. All I can say is, for me, it's a lesson in energy, and there is so much of it here right now that it'll put a smile on your face.
Definitely, it put a smile on my face when I drove down in here. Liz, thank you so much for hosting us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, feel free to interview everyone. Walk around and enjoy your day.
You know what? I'm going to take the advice. When we come back on the Center of It All, we're going to head out to the chainsaw carvers themselves, see what they're working on, and also get their perspective on what a great event this actually is. Don't go anywhere. You're watching WHVL. Welcome back to the center of it all. I knew you guys were going to stick around to check out the Chainsaw Rendezvous. I'm back in the studio, obviously, but let's send you right back out to Ridgway and get out of the visitor center, and we'll put you right in the heart of the action.
I just try to visualize it in the log, see it, how it fits in there. You got to walk all the way around it sometimes, a few times to find it, and then just try to put it in there.
Scott Dowd, one of the most gifted carvers at the Rendezvous, just picked up the saw one day and away he went. With a master's in sculpture from Edinburgh, he knows the benefits of that background. But part of coming to these exhibitions is being able to lean on your colleagues for tips.
The best part of coming to places like this, meeting new people, seeing new equipment, learning new techniques, seeing people with new ideas that are cool, all of it, you know. Drinking a couple good beers at the end of the day, it's all great.
Those ideas come from all over the country and the world. Over 200 carvers descend into Ridgway from Washington to Chile, Kentucky to the Czech, and everywhere in between. For some, this might as well be a holiday.
Basically, this is better than Christmas. You get 200 carvers from all over the world, so we come over, we learn skills, we take them back to England, but the buzz you get and the support you get from the other carvers in the States, basically it keeps us going for another year. It like really charges your batteries up. We really appreciate that the town opened their arms to us. Basically, we treat like royalty, you know, and we really look forward to this every year. Christmas hasn't got a look in when you've got the Rendezvous to come to.
Organizers feel the same way, with a jolt to the local timber industry as well as small businesses experiencing their busiest time of the year. Locals welcome the event, but the benefits go far beyond a monetary value.
We started a few years ago letting the carvers sign. It's only for carvers, and it's just basically to see how many people we can get from around the world, different people coming in, and just for them to remember. And we love having them here, and they love being here. They're all very polite. They're great people to hang out with. You learn so much from them every year, and you see the same people coming back, but you still learn new things.
Every carver has their own unique story of how they got into the art. Whether it be by chance or the thrill of having complete control, many were just looking for that spark. In fact, it's hard to pin down exactly what it is sometimes.
Well, that's a tough question to answer on camera, man. I mean, that's not an easy question. There's 100 variables going to that. I don't know. Just the love of doing what you want to do.
My husband is the first one who got intrigued with the art. And after we had our first daughter, he was out in our backyard just playing around, and I'm like, why is he always having so much fun? So he left to go to work the one day, and I picked up a saw, which I've never started a chainsaw, so inspiration to females. It's awesome, you know, just if you have a passion, try it. But I picked up the saw and started playing around. It's just kind of been history ever since.
I'm a Marine vet, so when I got out of the Marines, I was looking for something, I'm high energy, and something that I can produce. I don't need a middleman. I turn raw wood into money. And I get to create all day long doing that. Doing what I love to do. There's nothing better than that, man. Nothing.
One of the best experiences I've had in my 4 years here in central Pennsylvania. When we come back, food that could satisfy the appetite of every carver there. That's right, Kitchen Encounters is next, right here on the center of it all. Want to give a big shout out to our new fans out in the Chicagoland area. Thanks for watching. I know you are a big fan of Kitchen Encounters. With the warm temperatures we've been having, though, I decided to give Mel a week off and roll a classic. Well, here's a perfect recipe for that summer season: hot dogs on the grill.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. I grew up in eastern Pennsylvania, and whenever I hear that song, I remember hot, sunny summer afternoons sitting in Veterans Stadium rooting for the Philadelphia Phillies. One of my favorite things about going to a baseball game is eating a hot dog. And if you live in Pennsylvania, you know that means a chili dog. Today, I'm going to show you how to make my real deal Texas-style chili hot dogs. Let's get started. Texas-style chili dogs are slathered in yellow ballpark mustard and topped with a chunky all-meat chili sauce. People think they were invented in Texas, but they weren't. They were invented in 1924 in Paterson, New Jersey by a Greek immigrant who used spices and flavorings from his own heritage. Because he used hand-ground steak to make his chili sauce instead of store-bought ground beef, it got its Texas nickname. Because Texas-style chili dogs freeze so well, I always make a big batch. And I like to use London broil. This is what's going to give it its signature chewy to-the-tooth texture. I've cubed 3 pounds of London broil and put it in my food processor. And I'm going to use about 30 pulses to grind this to a nice, fine mix. If you don't have a big food processor like this, you can do this in separate batches. And before I did my meat, I also did 3 pounds of yellow onion and 3/4 of a pound of celery the exact same way. I've placed all of my minced ground steak in a big wide bottom 7-quart skillet, and I've added all of that minced onion, and now I'm adding all of that wonderful celery. I'm going to stir this really thoroughly to get all the ingredients mixed together, and then I'm going to turn the heat on and I'm going to let it simmer, just a gentle simmer but a steady simmer, for an hour to an hour and a half until almost all of the liquid has evaporated from the bottom of the pan. And don't worry so much about the time it takes. It's more important that the liquid evaporate from the bottom of the pan. This has been simmering for about an hour and 15 minutes, and you could see how there's almost no liquid in the bottom of the pan. That's exactly what you want. You don't want to let this mixture brown. And now making Texas-style chili sauce couldn't be easier. We're going to add a 1.5 cups of regular ketchup, 1.5 cups of chili sauce, 6 tablespoons of ballpark mustard, 6 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and 6 tablespoons of cayenne pepper sauce, 3 tablespoons of chili powder, and the Greek secret, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cloves. I'm going to stir this one all again together, and we're going to let this simmer on the stovetop for about 45 minutes to another hour until it's all thickened. And after that, ideally, you remove it from the heat, cover the pan, and let it sit for an hour or two to let all of the spices marry together. Back in 2007, America's Test Kitchen in Boston, the publishers of Cook's Illustrated and Cook's Country magazines, chose my Texas-style chili recipe to appear in their America's Best Lost cookbook. This was an honor because all of the recipes that appear in this book don't appear in any other cookbooks. So, the next time you're enjoying America's favorite pastime, pass the time eating one of my real deal chili dogs. For these and all my recipes, just go to my website.
I tell you what, Mel sure does know how to dress up just a plain hot dog. Between the dirty water dog that we saw recently and the Texas chili dog, I cannot wait for the grilling season to get here. When we come back, it's time to pay a visit to one of our furry, four-legged friends looking for a forever home. Time now to close out this edition of The Center of It All. Have you noticed we've been focusing on doing stuff outside? Sorry guys, hold on. Must be important. Yeah, guys, just a second. You know what? Cleveland Clinic, how to become disconnected. We know most people like to feel connected, but too much connectivity may not be good for our brains. As if we didn't know that. Before the days of the internet and mobile devices, it wasn't as easy to be reached anytime, anywhere. Dr. Joseph Rock, a psychologist at Cleveland Clinic, says the expectation of being available 24/7 can be problematic. I know that firsthand, and I wish others would as well.
If you aren't careful, you start losing track of the fact that I don't want to be available all the time. I don't have to respond to an email at 7 o'clock at night when I could do it tomorrow morning when I get to work.
Dr. Rock says that being able to disconnect and be unavailable sometimes is good for the brain. He says that when we stay too connected to our devices, it can contribute to stress and anxiety, especially if we remain too connected to our jobs after going home for the day. Again, I know. And it's not just good advice for adults. The American Academy for Pediatrics says that cell phone use at night has been shown to cause insomnia for teens. They recommend limiting screen time to 1 to 2 hours per day for children and teenagers. Dr. Rock says that when we put down the cell phone, we are mindful of the present and are better available to enjoy our time rather than worry about what is happening elsewhere in the world.
And there needs to be a deliberate, mindful effort to say, I'm done with this, and now I'm going to do this. And if this stuff starts to creep in, I'm going to pull myself back into what I'm doing now.
Rock says that folks who are having a tough time disconnecting need to remind themselves of what is most important to them and find a way to let their values dictate their behavior. Time now for my favorite part of the show, the pet of the week, and we have Mo right here, a 7-year-old tricolor beagle from Nittany Beagle Rescue. He's currently in the foster program with Laura Van Velzer. By the way, check her out, Happy Dog Yoga. That's a great program that she's doing right there. We're actually going to have her on the Center of It All later on in the year for a story in itself. But Mo, the star of the show this week, so cute and adorable, was hesitant when he first met me, was barking at me, but who doesn't do that? My friends do that when I walk in the door. Then he takes about 5 minutes, warms right up to you. Great with kids, great with me. You see him. Such a great pet, looking for a forever home right now. Who doesn't want to take him home? Such a lovable dog. Loves playing with his toys, loves being inside. As you see, he loves being outside as well. Great dog, has that great Beagle Bay as well, and loves to fly around and jump around as well. For more information on Mo, contact Nittany Beagle. Look at him. So hard to concentrate on what you're doing when you got a lovable pet like this right in your lap. 7-year-old tricolor beagle, Mo. Thanks for watching this edition of The Center of It All. For more, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Also, check us out on YouTube. Have a great day, everyone. Say bye, Mo. Bye.